Alright guys, today we're going to be checking out something requested by the Refurbished Spaghetti Western. This is Cry Havoc, a HORUS heresy story. Of course it's about the World Eaters. I have set the mood lighting appropriately for this. This is done by Vox in the Void. Now, I've had Vox in the Void on a live stream before. It is great to sit there and actually have him sitting there while I'm like my expression is one of abject horror when I'm listening to horrible things happen. When I saw this came up, I talked to him about it. I think he was telling me about this that was going to be coming out. I have not gotten the chance to see it yet, and now I got a chance to see it. So let's get into it. And I'm saying that more and more when it comes to things. As far as my own projects go, guys, I'm waiting till my voice recovers. I have 3 scripts ready. I have a 4th on the way. It just takes like so. Any case, here we go. Cry Havoc, HORUS heresy story. Kaboom.
Coral City, Isstvan III, Isstvan System, 005.M31. Tick, tick, tick. It is not enough. Gritty white ceramite is now brightly crimsoned by my brother's blood. My gauntleted fist is hammering into Rawl's snarling face even as he drives his gladius deeper into my wounded side, rupturing lesser internal organs as he struggles to pierce my hearts. Yet, it is not enough. The nails demand more. More bloodshed. More violence. More death. There can be no end to it. Despite the immediate peril, I cannot bring myself to disengage. I am committed to slaying Rawl even if it means dying at his hand in turn. I crouch atop the World Eater's chest like a beast poised above its prey, raining down blow after blow, oblivious to the rush of raging legionaries surging past me. Rawl's blood soils my exposed face as I brutally bludgeon him with all my strength. My helmet is gone. I cannot recall if it was torn from me or if I discarded it earlier in the fighting. My left arm has been hacked off at the elbow. I have no memory of losing it either, or the chain axe I had been wielding. No matter. It is better this way. Much better. Tick. 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 Die. Die, traitor! I roar as Rawl's skull begins to cave in. He gives the gladius a final, desperate wrench. Red, tainted spittle sprays from my jaws as I gasp at the violation. The blade has snagged my spine. All sensation leaves my legs. The World Eater's features dissolve into a slurry of blood and pulverized bone as my gauntlet crushes his head. My groping fingers close about the pain engine digging into his brain, and I rip it free with an exultant howl of triumph. The action unbalances me, and I fall heavily amongst the fresh corpses strewn across the ruined plaza. Rawl's carcass joining the detritus of wanton carnage surrounding me on all sides. Scores of World Eater legionaries lie still and silent, their bloodied gauntlets still gripping their broken weapons, locked together in death. The sounds of combat have faded. The battle has swept on, and I have been left behind. Nothing but garbled static hisses from the Vox bead in my ear. Unit cohesion has broken down entirely. I do not know if Captain Erlin still lives. I do not know what has befallen the warriors of my squad.
You probably don't care.
I know only one thing for certain. Now, one terrible truth that has arisen to eclipse all others, drowning all our endeavors and sacrifices in darkness. We have been betrayed. Tick, tick, tick. A deep, intimate agony such as no other weapon can inflict upon my flesh pulses through the defiled meat of my mind as the nails punish me for ceasing to kill. It cannot be helped. There is nothing here left to slay. A pathetic mule of pain inadvertently escapes my lips and my breathing grows strained as I strive to remain coherent. With the nails ravaging my brain and combat stim still burning in my veins, it is a struggle merely to maintain a grip on my sanity. My hand trembles as I pull Rawls Gladius from my side. Fresh blood washes over the gore-stained blade. Multiple organs have been pierced. From the waist down I feel nothing. I cannot walk. I cannot rejoin my brothers in punishing the traitors. The traitors! We have been betrayed, deceived, cast off and sent down to Isstvan III to die. Now those of us who survived the Life Eater virus bombardment shall fall to the axes and guns of those they once called brother. I have committed open fratricide on the field of battle. I have taken the lives of brother space marines I had once fought alongside. Why? Why? Angron, Fulgrim, Mortarion, and the War Master himself. 4 Primarchs. 4 of the Emperor's own progeny united in conspiracy and rebellion. Their hands now dripping with the blood of their own gene sons. What madness has befallen them? What has caused them to forsake their vows and sanction the slaughter of their own legionaries? Why have...
I'm not commenting just because I'm loving this too much. I really am. So if I just go long periods of time where I'm just sitting there listening to this, you're going to have to excuse me. I really am just enjoying this too much.
Have we been condemned to such a death? Why has our father lifted up his hand against us? I am betrayed! I bellow aloud, giving voice to the overwhelming turmoil of my hearts. Betrayed unto death! Father, devourer of worlds, Red Butcher! Can you hear me, Father? Do you know what you have done? The dead city is indifferent to my pitiful outburst. Froth bubbles between my clenched teeth as the nails continue their unrelenting torment. I embrace the pain and cease crying out like a lost child. I lie quietly amongst my slain brethren, waiting, bloodied by fratricide. A traitor's weapon clenched tight in my fist. Others shall come soon enough. Someone will find me. I lower my head and steady my breathing. Perhaps Angron himself will come. I do not want to die in ignorance. I must hear the truth from my gene sire's own lips before the end.
He wouldn't tell you.
I must know why. What is it like to stand in the presence of your Primarch? I once asked of Captain Dersius of the Ultramarines 83rd Company during a brief layover at the Ender starport, following the Avogarden cleansings. He had frowned at the question, in contemplation rather than anger, before answering proudly. It is like standing before the concentrated essence of every battle king to ever rule Macragge, distilled in the mind, heart, and will of one singular being, and knowing, without question and beyond all doubt, that for as long as he exists, the ideal of the Imperium will never fail. Ferrus. Brother Sergeant Ferrus. The Vox beat crackles to life in my ear. Awareness returns in an instant. My eyes snap open. I do not remember closing them. Mere minutes have passed. I raise my head, teeth bared, my heart's quickening to combat readiness in the span of a second. 3 World Eater legionaries are moving wearily, almost furtively, amongst the bodies of their slain genekin, hunting for targets. I recognize them at once. As battle-mauled as they are, my remaining squad brothers have returned for me, though they, too, are far from unscathed. Isadir's right arm hangs uselessly at his side, armor, bone, and muscle alike savaged by bolter fire. Grax is helmless, half of his face reduced to a raw, weeping mess of scorched flesh, likely from the discharge of a plasma gun. Frakal, my second in command, moves with a noticeable hitch in his stride. He is walking on a broken leg but refuses to allow the injury to impede him. The white and blue of their war plate is obscured by blood, yet they remain resolute and unbowed. My heart swells with pride as they approach me. A pity my own wounds are so severe. We will not stay together for long.
Nope.
Brothers, report. I snarl raggedly as I use Rule's Gladius to prop myself up against his lifeless corpse.
The situation is dire, Sergeant Ferris.
Frakal growls, his rough voice tight with suppressed pain, his fury masked behind his dented, gore-spattered helm.
Captain Erlen is dead. The traitors ripped off his face and quartered his body with their blades while he yet drew breath.
Ugh.
Angron intends to purge us in person. He and our turncoat brothers hunt us with axe and bolter throughout the city. And heavy armor is being deployed even as we speak. They will not stop until we are slaughtered to the last man. According to Vox rumor, a captain of the Emperor's children, Saul Tarvitz, is attempting to establish a center of organized resistance alongside surviving loyal sons of Horus and Death Guard legionaries. What are your orders?
So, one of Fulgrim's preening peacocks is trying to run this shitfest now, is he? How typical. That's quite possibly the best news I've heard all day. I grin a rictus grin, saliva still dribbling from my lips as I fight to maintain control of myself. As far as the nails are concerned, the best course of action would be for me to tear Frakal's head from his shoulders and beat him to death with it. I am sure he feels similarly compelled.
Seek out this loyal whelp of the Phoenician brothers, and lend him your strength. Should you encounter other survivors, compel them to accompany you. Failing that, kill as many of the traitorous whore sons as you can before you die. I will not be able to.
The distant clamor of power-armored footfalls brings an end to all plans. Seconds later, the cheering of our foes reaches our ears. A host of our treasonous brethren are bellowing out a single name over and over as they hack and hew their way towards our position. Bolters bark. Whirring chain-blades shriek. World Eaters roar and rage as they clash and die. The cheering swells. The traitors are glorying in their orders, reveling in the butchery of their brothers, striving slavishly to win the begrudging regard of the Primarch. Rage boils up within me.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there and talk for a few minutes. The betrayal at Isstvan III is one of those moments in when I first started reading the HORUS Heresy. A lot of people that I was talking to about it at the time, they were really interested. They were like, oh, I can't wait till Isstvan V. I can't wait till, this event happens. For me, it was always Isstvan III. I wanted to see how that was going to be handled. And it did not disappoint. In fact, I have all the audiobooks for the HORUS Heresy so far, and I still listen to Let the Galaxy Burn just because of that. Just because of that single segment, and Flight of the Eisenstein. Just that one single line, this is like, and this is treachery. And just when Saul is fleeing the flagship of the Emperor's Children, it's one of the best written things that I saw in the entire HORUS Heresy when he was fleeing the flagship and on the way down to the surface. I always wanted to see how Isstvan III would be carried out, and there's so much that happened during this part of the lore that happened all at the same time. You could fill up a series of books with it, as far as what all happened during this time. The politicking and the back and forth, and eventually the deployment, and then the actual betrayal itself. One of the worst things that I read in that book was how Horus let everyone know what he was doing, and he slaughtered an entire room full of people Well, not a room, a hangar full of people. All the remembrancers that came out with him. It was one of those things I was sitting there going, everyone in this room is going to die in a couple of seconds.
A rage so incandescent it threatens to submerge my reasoning in the intensity of its purity.
Father is coming.
Grax rasps, apropos of nothing. He revs his bloody chain axe, an eager snarl contorting his burned features. Something passes privately between Frakau and Isadir over the Vox, and before I can issue new orders, the two World Eaters stoop and pull me upright, causing my mangled organs to shift unnaturally within me.
Leave me, you craven yellow-bellied curs!
I howl furiously as they half carry, half drag my crippled body from the plaza and towards a partly demolished courthouse.
I'll not cower or hide from the Primarch's axes like a skulking son of Korax. Angron must answer for this. Stop whining, you damn stubborn old warhound.
Isadir grates out as the two legionaries haul me into the building's wrecked interior, their boots crunching over cracked marble tiles and shattered glass.
We're too few and too exposed. In here we can prolong the engagement and kill more of the bastards. Better that than being gunned down like chaff out in the open.
Ignoring my curses, they manhandle me up 2 flights of stone steps before dumping me like an unwanted burden on the second landing. Rules Gladius slips from my hand as I convulse and cough up blood. Gasping like an old man, I dig my armored fingers into the polished basalt wall to keep from sliding sideways. A grey mist steals across my vision, and I recall. What is it like to stand in the presence of your Primarch? I once asked of Stormseer Uragulsi of the Brotherhood of the Painted Stallion, after a White Scar's strike force had broken through the Physixi blockade, enabling our ground forces to take the Xenos primary nest spire. The question had surprised him, yet he had responded truthfully after a span of careful consideration. It is like standing before the wind personified. A tireless wind that sweeps us across the furthest voids, ever guiding our blades as we ride in conquest of this frontier of stars that knows no end.
I love this back and forth about standing in front of the other Primarchs. Because I know what
I open
was.
my eyes again and see that my warriors have not been idle. Weapons stripped from the corpses of fallen World Eaters have been arrayed neatly by my side as if offered in tribute. 3 fully loaded bolt guns and a functional chainsword are within easy reach of my remaining hand. A bandolier of frag grenades has been looped over my left pauldron, and someone, likely Frakau, has secured Rules Gladius to my wrist with a length of scavenged cabling.
Nice.
Relief washes over me. As broken as I am, I will still be able to go down fighting like a true legionary. My thanks, brothers. I growl into the Vox transmitter embedded in my gorget as I begin gathering the grenades, priming each one to detonate on impact. I will bleed many traitors and avenge our murdered brethren before death claims me. Do not be found wanting. Die well, my proud eaters of worlds. Ave Imperator.
We'll try to leave a few for you, Varus, but I'll make no promises.
Even over the distorting effects of the Vox, I can still detect the ferocious joy in Frakau's voice as he prepares to lose himself to the Nail's embrace.
Someone needs to teach these wayward mongrels a lesson in loyalty. I am going to enjoy this.
As
they don't
well
care.
You should. The old legends say the deepest pits of hell are reserved for oathbreakers and kinslayers. Kill them all, Frakau. Kill Angron himself if he dares to come.
I shall.
No.
He cuts the link and I know I will never speak with him again. The traitor World Eaters are not long in arriving. There are no windows near me that overlook the plaza, but even through the thick walls I can hear their cheering reaching a crescendo, and no individual kill squads are spreading out to hunt for dug-in defenders. The seconds drag themselves by with infuriating slowness. I cough up more blood and wonder if I will live long enough to fulfill my vows.
You will.
Then bolt of fire rings out from somewhere below, and I grin in satisfaction as my men make their righteous fury known. Brothers Isadir, Grax, and Frakal, all worthy sons of the 12th Legion, all faithful and true to the master of mankind, fight their final battle with all the ferocity of demons out of ancient Terran myth, and die like dogs in the face of their brethren's overwhelming assault. Belligerent oaths and defiant war cries swiftly give way to grunts of pain and howls of frustration as wounds take their toll and the attacking World Eaters press their advantage. No mercy is expected and none is given. I am witness to none of their deaths. Instead, I scent the air and listen as they are overcome and butchered in quick succession. Frakal is the last to fall, spitting vile insults upon the heads of Angron, HORUS, and the mothers of each and every space marine who has dared rebel against the Emperor.
Now, they may lose the fight, but those insults to their mothers, that's gonna haunt them from eternity.
Traitors fall upon him like starving wolves, and he screams like a mortal as his limbs are severed and his intestines are torn from his body. Even as his death cries are cut short, a multitude of pounding footsteps echo up the stairway, driven into a killing frenzy by the nails and the prolonged spilling of their brother's blood. The first 2 legionaries to come charging blindly around the corner die upon reaching the first landing.
Nice.
Their skulls blown open by several precision headshots. I keep firing even as their bodies collapse and the second pair are likewise dispatched, their corpses momentarily hindering those following after. Taking advantage of the brief opening, I drop the bolt gun and toss a few grenades. The ensuing detonations mutilate the foremost World Eaters beyond recovery,
nice,
causing the enraged legionaries below to bay and curse, promising me a slow and ignoble death. I laugh at their threats, salivating as the stench of my slaughtered foes washes over me like balmy sea breeze. It will not be long until I am as crazed as they are, but I must not succumb to the kill madness. Not yet. Come, you worthless, shit-eating sons of swine! Come face me, faithless blackguards! I roar as I raise a second bolt gun and ready myself for the next assault. I will slay every single one of you, and when I return to Terra to inform the Emperor of your perfidy, I will heap your skulls in a glorious mound before the Golden Throne. And I will personally present your skull.
Okay, that's the only thing that I have heard so far that I gotta take issue with, because no one knew about the Golden Throne at that point.
To the War Master.
It's the only thing I got.
One of their centurions vows as the legionaries begin advancing again at a slower, more controlled pace. I suddenly find myself keenly missing my lost arm. I would have preferred dying with Blood Splitter, my trusted chain axe held fast in my grip for a final time.
Come on, man, you can do it.
No. Stand down. He is mine.
At Angron's command, an immediate hush descends. The World Eaters fall back, leaving the first landing uncontested and their dead lying where they have fallen. I sag limply against the wall, clutching desperately to the bolter, microspasms racking my flesh as the nails exact their revenge for having been denied once again. Blood is now running freely from my nose and mouth. Awareness wavers. Consciousness ebbs. So consuming is the nerve-shredding torment that when the whole stairway suddenly shudders beneath the weight of a demigod's tread, I do not respond as a true World Eater should. Instead, I close my eyes, seeking a momentary shred of respite, and I remember. What is it like to stand in the presence of your Primarch? I once asked a veteran Sergeant Afriayam in the aftermath of the Blood Angels and World Eaters joint compliance of Basque. He had smiled at my question, his noble face alight with devotion. It is like standing before a blazing sun, whose rays forever pierce the darkness, a sun about which we eternally circle, our orbits never to be broken, a sun that will never set, A light that can never be extinguished. Then he had glanced at me sidelong, his blue eyes thoughtful. Why do you wish to know? Is it not the same for you whenever you enter into the presence of the Lord of the Red Sands?
No.
HERESY.
My father speaks my name and I open my eyes for the last time. The Lord of the 12th Legion stands below me, gazing upward, and although I hold the high ground, it seems as if he is towering over me like a colossus, looking down upon me, judging me, regarding me in the same manner a huntsman might regard a badly injured hound that is no longer fit to feed. Chains rattle against the peerless Martian forged plates of his brazen gold and crimson power armor. His twin artificer chain axes, Gore Father and Gore Child, have been powered down. The Primarch holds them crossed close to his chestplate, the weapons no less threatening despite the passive stance. It seems impossible that the stairway should accommodate his mighty bulk, yet he stands easy within the enclosed space, seemingly untroubled by its basalt confines.
HERESY, I have come. You have something you wish to tell me.
I blink my bloody eyes, my vision now hazed with arterial red, my breathing harsh and labored as death drags its talons through my ruptured innards. My brief moment of weakness in the plaza had not gone unnoticed. My challenge has been answered, but Angron has not come in response to a son's agonized cries of anguish and rage. My Gene Sire is not here to give succor or console. The bright transhuman blood of my fallen brothers drenches him from head to foot. The teeth of his axes are clotted with the gen-hanced gore of his own legionaries. He has come to kill me for my loyalty and for my weakness, and that is all. Perhaps I should be honored. Perhaps I should consider it a privilege to be granted such a death. But I feel nothing but rage, pure and incandescent. I am now the scion of a legion of oath-breakers and murderers.
Ugh.
Honor is dead. Now there can be only vengeance. Tick. 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 I let the bolt gun speak for me. In the half-second it takes for me to lift the weapon and fire the first shot, Angron dips his head and raises Gore Father to shield his exposed face. The bolt rounds strike the flat of the uplifted chain axe, but instead of detonating, the shots inexplicably ricochet from Gore Father's surface to explode harmlessly against the walls and ceiling, showering powdered stone across the Primarch's pauldrons. Angron begins to mount the stairs, the servo joints of his ornate warplate grinding and growling as he ascends unperturbed into a stream of bolter fire. The magazine clicks empty. I cast the gun aside and grab for the remaining grenades. Like a striking whip, Gorechild lashes out, still deactivated, and 4 of my ceramite-clad fingers join the spent shell casings littering the steps. Why? I snarl thickly through the pain and the blood, all of my fury and despair surging up to force the question into being. Father, why have you turned against? No.
The Primarch growls as he lowers Gorefather, his lips lifting in scorn to expose his dark metal teeth, his bloodshot eyes narrowing in contempt. A single swift blow to the chest and I am hurled backwards, the air driven clean from my birth lungs, my breastplate riven asunder, my carapace crushed.
No, Varus. Too many have already squandered their last moments asking me that wretched question, and I am tired of explaining myself.
He bends over me, the full force of his regard almost impossible to endure.
Instead, I will ask the questions.
Okay.
Tell me, Varus, why did you not resist when I gave the order to have the butcher's nails introduced throughout the Legion? Why did you volunteer instead to have your brain cut open and the nails implanted?
I can barely comprehend the question. My thoughts are fracturing. My jaws gape as I struggle
Angron's about to make a lot of sense, and it's going to hurt my feelings, but it's going to be all true.
to draw in a single soaring breath. Death snaps eagerly at my throat, mere heartbeats away. You are my Primarch, I gasp. My progenitor, my liege and my general. How could I have gone against your will? I thought the nails would bring me closer to you. You are
A slave!
Angron bellows, his rage rising, his tortured face a perfect reflection of my own.
I am a slave, Verus, and I was so close to dying free. Free, and fighting alongside my true brothers and sisters against the tyrannical High Riders of Nuceria. That would have been a fitting end. But then the Emperor spirited me away, forcing me to leave my comrades' arms behind, to be slaughtered, forsaken and unmourned. And what did I inherit from him in exchange? An entire legion of dogs. Obedient, groveling warhounds. Most of whom rolled right over and submitted to the implantation of the nails without resistance. A legion of cowardly curs who have the audacity to call themselves my sons.
Oh.
His pain-filled eyes ablaze with fervor. The Primarch leans in closer as if to confide a long-held secret. His breath reeks of blood and spoiled meat. A true son would have stood up to his father at the prospect of such defilement. A true son would have spat in my face and damned me to hell rather than willingly surrender his freedom. Yet you did not. You are no true son of mine, Sergeant Verus. You are a thrall. A thrall to the greatest High Rider this galaxy has ever known. But I will be my father's slave no longer. And neither will the World Eaters. So die as the Emperor's dog, Verus. Die forsaken and unmourned, just as my gladiators died on Nuceria fighting in futility for a chance to be free. You will not be missed. I am sinking downwards into darkness. Angron straightens, preparing to turn away. With the last of my strength, I find my courage and spit out 3 words with my final breath. 3 words I have carried deep within me ever since the day I had emerged from the surgical chambers of the Conqueror's Apothecarian after having received the nails. 3 words nurtured in bitter secrecy throughout hundreds of campaigns and thousands of battles. 3 words no space marine of the Legiones Astartes has ever said to the face of their Primarch. I hate you. And as death's jaws close about me, something flickers in the depths of Angron's eyes. Something I have always yearned to see, despite the pain and the madness and the disregard he has inflicted upon us. Something I long for even at the end, as I breathe my last in the graveyard city of broken oaths and shattered dreams. In my father's eyes, I finally see it before the darkness takes me. Approval.
This was well done. And this sounds like something that Angron would actually do. He would actually look on somebody, one of his sons, that did this with some measure of approval. Angron hated his legion. It's hard, but at the same time it's not hard to explain Angron, because you can always find the words, but if you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know the lore that well, it can be kind of difficult to explain Angron to them. Angron never wanted to be with the Emperor at all, under any circumstance. He hated the man. He hated him. It's after what the Emperor did at Nuceria. The Emperor's actions at New Syria guaranteed that Angron would turn the second that, there stood a chance that he could get revenge. Angron, I've had people say that Angron wasn't justified, that, Angron's reasoning was, childish, things like that, but I can't agree with that. The Emperor made him in every way, and could have repaired the situation, could have fixed things, but he just never did. And he gave birth to, this. In any case, this entire story, there's so much that can be done as far as, writing within certain parts of the Horus Heresy, but the Isstvan III situation really is one of those things, is one of those areas, because there's so much that happened down there. The actual initial first great betrayal of the Horus Heresy. It was one of my. I spent so many days where I was just waiting, and you get the books and you're just sitting there, you're just pouring through and waiting to see how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen and how much detail they're going to go into. And don't get me wrong, I was not let down, but there is so much that can be done in there. In any case, Vox in the Void does a fantastic job, and all I can do is applaud this. This is, sometimes with fan fiction, you can sit there and be like, okay, they do sound like world leaders, they don't sound like X, they do sound like X, they don't. This sounds like a world leader, and this sounds like something Angron would do. In any case, all of Vox in the Void's links are going to be in the description down below right next to my own. Go by and check him out, guys. If you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is to subscribe and just hit the like button on this video if you haven't already. And leave a comment. That's one great way. If you'd like to support me in other ways, I have a Patreon and I do sell merch now. That's been hand done by Valk. So yeah, I'm gonna call it there, guys. Happy New Year, and cry havoc. And I'll catch you guys next time.